Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 23 with the Kansas City Royals and the tour through history. A gigantic shout out to Tom Lehman, one of the most consistent commenters on this channel. Whoo boy, this was a big fuck up. I had set Chuck Tanner's salary at $1.5 million. Whoops. Which meant that Mr. Tanner's salary was like sucking us dry of most of our money. So, as much as I was complaining about how much money I didn't have last season, that was a big piece of it. I basically took, $1,350,000 and lit it on fire. And then was shocked that it didn't work out. So, major kudos to Mr. Lehman for his kind pointing that out. We're now in slightly better physical shape. Not great shape, though. We presently have approximately 900 grand for free agents. And if we take a look at our salary arbitration listings here, we've got a lot of people leaving the leaving the team. Now some of these folks, like Andre Robertson, I wouldn't mind bringing him back necessarily, but he was very much brought here just to fill a desperate need, which was to give Jose Valentin a chance to recover. Sorry, Jose Vizcaino, my apologies. Which he apparently has done. We have Dave Edwards, who we brought in and didn't really do much of note. Yes, he is a captain, but I've already got one of those. So I don't feel obligated to worry about that just yet. We are going to lose Dennis Martinez, and I do like El Presidente, but it's also an inescapable conclusion that he just isn't what he used to be. And paying him literally any amount of money seems like a ripoff. Oh, I need to turn off commissioner mode. Whoopsie daisy. I turned on commissioner mode to fix that one specific issue, and then, whoops. Yeah, so we're gonna have lots of roster spots, and we just don't have a very deep farm system. So we're definitely going to be active in free agency or the trade market, or ideally both. And especially the draft. Now, Jim Rice is gone. Jim Rice wants a whole lot of money to come back. The man's 36 and was arguably as unproductive as he's ever been. I don't really think it's a smart idea to spend money on that. I just don't. Eddie Milner is a good defender, but has no other real function. Yeah, so we've got some work to do in order to make ourselves a better team for next year. However, it is important to note that we did in fact make the playoffs last year. Despite our redonkulous salary situation, we did actually make the playoffs. And that is always highly welcome, right? That's kind of the ultimate test of a manager's skill, is making the playoffs. Now, you might rightly say, what about winning the World Series? Isn't that important? My firm belief is it's the manager's job to get you into the playoffs. It's the team's job to get you through the playoffs. What do I mean by that? There are lots of examples throughout baseball history Grady Little leaving and Pedro Martinez, for instance, that clearly cost a team a playoff series, without question. But if you don't have quality leadership to begin with, you won't even make the playoffs because it's such a long season. It's 162 games, and you've got to be on your A game as much as you possibly can be. So while it's very easy to point out managerial mistakes that cost teams games, I don't think it's fair to say that managers are going to cost you playoff series by and large. I don't think that's a fair statement. Because for every game like Grady Little leaving and Pedro Martinez to get lit up, you can find another game where the team just sucked, right? How many times in OOTP have we experienced a scenario where we have a relatively good team that just stops hitting in the playoffs? Like, just as a rule, stop hitting. There's not really much a manager can do about that. If the players don't produce, you're not going to win in the playoffs. So that's why I think the most important job of a manager is to get their team to the playoffs. It's over the long term where a manager being successful or not will truly be apparent. In my opinion. But my friends, we are now halfway through our Royals adventure. And it's up to us to see if we can get back to the playoffs, hopefully with a much more potent pitching staff and an overall better team. All right, new contracts. Now, he just took a one-year deal, if I remember right, correct? He did. And Matt Williams, we did get Matt Williams to give us a longer-term commitment, which is going to be great. The core lineup still remains quite effective. It's going to come down to Gerald Young having a nice bounce-back season. Lenny Dykstra also had a disappointing season. There's definite room to grow here, which is what I always find exciting about a team. A team where every player plays their best and you struggle is never great. But a team where some players play well but other players are slacking is a team where there's great strides to be made. Big time strides and big time improvement. And I would argue one of the best bullpens in the majors. Just throwing it out there. I wonder if we're going to get any big awards this season. Rudy, I can't give you... I can give you an extension, but... Oh, I guess you do want an extension. Okay, great. I was going to say, my dude, I can't give you the Major League hitting coach job, but we got a gold glove. For whomst? Gerald Young again. Damn, Gerald Young, you're a 3-time gold glover in right field. That's got value even if offensively you've still been a little bit less than I would have preferred. Nonetheless, you remain an excellent player. I don't know if Will Clark is going to come away with any big hardware this year. Oh, no, he did. Good for Will Clark then. Because he's never going to be the big home run hitter, right? He's never going to have 40, 50 home runs, and it's going to be harder for him to get attention that way. And nobody else from Kansas City made it. I have zero issue with that. Actually, I'm a little bit surprised that Matt Williams didn't get Silver Slugger consideration. I mean, Barry Larkin did put up 10 wins, and Alan Trammell put up 7. As long as you've got that third base shortstop consideration, I think we're going to have a hard time getting past the Yankees if we make the playoffs. Thankfully, though, we don't have to worry about them quite as much for our everyday baseballing concerns. Yes, you're right, Gerald Young. I'm sorry. I am clearly human scum, and I apologize to you. Okie dokie, Smokey. Who do we got? I presently have $1.1 million to sign a free agent of our very own. I would love to lock up Will Clark, but he's just not having it yet. We might lose Frank Viola too, so this is definitely going to be a season of transition once the next offseason runs around. So what do I need that 1.1 million for? Well, I don't have a starting second baseman or starting left fielder except for Jose Vizcaino and maybe Hensley Mullins, although I don't feel great about that. I also need a new starting pitcher. I need a lot of things. Just so many things. And what do we got here? Is anybody reasonably priced that could offer us something of note? Let me look at starting pitching. Okay, Mike Lacoste. You're not a very impressive pitcher. I could bring in Bill Gullickson, who's even less impressive. I could pitch. I could pick him up. That'd be great. Larry McWilliams would be an interesting addition for us. I think he's going to be the one I offer. Like, yes, he's 35. Totally get it. But he's got pretty good control, good movement, and he's a really good ground ball pitcher. And the stats do back that up. So I'm thinking in a park like Kansas City, he'll be even more successful, and he won't cost us very much money. So I think Larry McWilliams, welcome to the Kansas City Royals. I will even guarantee you a rotation spot. That's how much I like you. What do we have for a reasonable medium tier left fielder? Somebody that I can trade easily enough if it turns out it's not what I'm looking for. But somebody who is good enough to hold down the fort if I can't get a quality dude in left field. And here's the other issue. I can't sign a free agent who derives his value primarily through home runs. There's got to be more to it than that. Super Joe Charbonneau. Brett Butler is interesting. I don't really want another player that's all speed and some defense. I've already got one of those in Gerald Young. I mean, I'll take Lonnie Smith for $0. I think that's very reasonable. I don't know if he's going to be any good or not, but he gives me depth, and that is of some value to me. No, you do not. You get a minor league deal and nothing else. That's what I'm offering you. Take it, my friend. There's just not... Everything here is either not good enough or it's too expensive. Like, Juan Samuel would solve very few problems. But a Harold Baines would be pretty solid. I'd love to see Harold Baines join us. I can't afford that shit. I'd love to bring Tony Gwynn back. Can't afford that shit. And then too many other players are just not good enough. So I'm thinking that the draft is where we can fill in a spot there. Pitching staff is fine. Just one more addition will be solid there. It's going to be position players. I'm going to need about 5 of them. So... starting position-wise, I really only truly need a starting left fielder. So I'm gonna need. Let's work this out. I'm gonna need 2 infielders and a left fielder and someone to be a better DH. If I look purely at batting ratings and sort by contact, I can't afford Mel Hall. I don't know why I looked. A guy like a Gino Petralli might be a nice DH, but I think I want to wait till after the draft because the players I'm going to be looking for are mostly going to be players that aren't of too much value. Yeah, I'm not spending $2 million for Scott Fletcher. I'm looking for good defense and reasonable offense if I need him to come into a game. Jose Uribe, if he could play any position other than shortstop, would be a perfect choice, but he can't. Bill Allman only plays short. Let's grab Nelson here. Yeah, I like having the option, which means he won't get paid it. And I also want somebody who can handle third base. Herman Rivera would be a reasonably good DH, but he's a little bit too expensive. Let me make third base defense, although I'm not like totally locked in on having to have a great defender at third base. Maybe I actually should just focus on... Alright. Let's look. Bob Brenly doesn't really play third at all, though. I need someone who can at least handle third if I need him to. Spike Owen is too much money. Ivan DeJesus is just not very good. Denny Walling is a perfectly cromulent backup third baseman, so let's see if that would cost me a bunch of money. I'm not putting in the starting lineup. I'll keep looking. Tim Wallach seems much more amenable to the short-term contract I'm looking for. Okay. So that's got us reasonably well set at the depth positions, but any genuine improvement's going to have to come from the draft, which is what I expected. You don't often find opportunities to make big improvements when you don't have a lot of money to spare. We're still being kind of grabbed by the short hairs because of how much money our owner isn't giving us. So we're always going to have to adjust to that no matter what else happens during our baseball adventures. Jim Fregosi seems like a pretty damn good bet to make the Hall of Fame. Love me some Fergie Jenkins and some Gentleman Jim and Tommy John. I genuinely don't get why someone with 90 wins is not able to crack through. I mean, it's been an embarrassment of riches, though, for top quality prospects lately. That's definitely true. But I'll go for Joe Morgan and Jim Nash. But Bill North shouldn't even be on the ballot. He shouldn't have even been added, in my opinion. Rico Patricelli, absolutely. Mel Stottlemyre seems good. And the rest of this is not really that many super impressive guys. Well, there's a bunch of players that are right around the same skill level, but only Patricelli and Fregosi are like A-tier megastars that are certainly going to make it in. I think we could easily see another 3 to 4 players make it in, but I think those are the ones that are like right there. Like, no sensible person would not vote for Fregosi or Patricelli, really. We got Tim Wallach. I think we're going to get pretty much everybody. Alright, so Larry McWilliams is going to be a starting pitcher for us. So that's one problem taken care of. And while I know Larry McWilliams isn't like a megastar, it's worth noting that he's still pretty good. And we'll have a lot more money if we don't end up keeping some of these guys, so I have no issues there. Alright. Let us proceed forwards. Finding a way to pay for Will Clark definitely concerns me a lot. Because he ain't going to come cheap, right? Nor should he. And if we don't have Will Clark, our entire lineup is basically garbage. So I would love to get him to take a multi-year deal if we could. I'm basically trying to get him to sign now so that I don't have to worry. So we're going to do... Let's make it a 6-year deal and see if this... I've got a feeling he probably won't go for that. No, he wants probably more money each season. Alright. So we're going to do 5 years. And I'm going to increase the money. And it's such a short contract that I'm hoping... Oh, he'd take that. Done. We can't lose Will Clark. Like, flat out. We can't. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that brings me so much joy. And makes me feel so happy about what we might be able to accomplish now. Alright, Fred Lynn is legitimately still a pretty good left fielder. And you're asking me for basically nothing in return. I mean... Let's go through the draft first and see what we might be able to accomplish, but, No, you know what? Would you eat his entire salary? All right, all players. What do we got here? All right, I'm not gonna go reliever. I'm just not. So this leaves me with a couple of choices here. First, this is a relatively good draft for starting pitching. I've got Steve Avery, Chuck Nagy, Scott Erickson, Wilson Alvarez. All of them had pretty solid major league careers. Randy Tomlin, I don't remember at all. It looks like there is good reason for that. So yeah, I've got options there. That's one possibility. The other possibility is to try to add depth in the infield. Because I'm not really seeing a top tier hitter. I'll quickly check batting potential and look at contact. Mickey Morandini would be awfully tempting, as would Pedro Munoz. Munoz would be a pretty good DH. Because Mickey Morandini can only play second, and that not that well. Dave Hollins would be a reasonably good choice. I'd love like a Lee Stevens to be a DH. But I just got a feeling that spending on the DH, draft pick wise, is not as efficient as spending on something potentially more useful. Now, Mickey Morandini can't play second. This is not a good second baseman. And that's the problem. That's why I can't take him. Offensively, his bat is fine. That would play quite well at second base. It's not a good enough defensive record to consider selecting him for that. You got hard-hitting Mark Whitten. There's a bunch of players here that are right around the same level. And none that are obviously highly deserving of a role on the team. Mike Bordick would be a nice little backup for the infield. But it's either going to be a big-time bat or it's going to be a big-time pitcher that's going to be the choice here. If all I care about is bat, Lee Stevens is probably one of the better choices because he's got power and batting. I also like Dave Hollins, though. Dave Hollins is also a fine hitter that would be a pretty good DH. Is starters so deep? Is starting pitchers so deep that if I don't get one of the better pitchers, I'm screwed? That is, I think, a better question, and it's the one that's giving me pause right now. While there's a lot of average starters in this draft, there's not a lot of potential starting tier starters. And that's what gives me pause. That's what makes me, I don't really want to get stuck with Mark Leiter or Dave Burba or Omar Olivares. All of whom were perfectly cromulent starters for a short period, but none of whom you would consider, like, a good starter. So let's look at the starting pitchers. I'm leaning in this direction. So let's look at Steve Avery. So Steve Avery is one of the Atlanta bullpen, or the Atlanta rotation that dominated things. He left first, if I remember right. He left before 97 and went to Boston. He was a big-time strikeout guy, reasonably good. He's lefty. His velocity is really low, so I'd have to be counting on him developing that velocity. So this is possibility the first. Scott Erickson is a pitcher, as is good old Chuck Nagy, who is also a pitcher. Paul Abbott, you guessed it, pitcher. None of these pitchers are all that exciting either. But if I don't take, say, Steve Avery, or is Randy Tomlin even any good? He's got good movement and control, but I don't think that's enough. Getting Avery and hoping he adds ticks to the fastball and thereby stuff would be a good long-term choice. Chuck Nagy is the better choice for, like, next season. Now, okay, I'm a Cleveland fan. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. I remember Chuck Nagy very vividly. And Chuck was never an ace, but he was always reliable. I can't remember if it was 95 or 97 that he's actually, like, really, actually wasn't very good either year. 96 was his best year. Look at that year in 92, though. He was damn fine as a youngster. So that's kind of what I'm feeling trapped with, right? It's like I can get a good DH or I can get a good starter. But I can't get a great starter. And if I want even like a number 3 to 4 starter, I've got to take him now. So the risk with Avery is he doesn't add anything to the fastball. If he does, then I think he'll be a reasonably good starter for a reasonably good period of time. I think I'm going to take Avery and bet on upside. Alright, I could grab Scott Erickson. Who is left in the batting senses? This is what I was afraid of, right? I remember saying this very clearly. If we wanted to get a good hitter, I should use a first pick on it. I didn't. I can't blame anyone but myself for that. Milt Collier offers us some flexibility off of the bench. And I don't have Dave Edwards to kick around anymore. And it's like Randy Kutcher, who gives a shit. Let's go ahead and take Collier. I think that's a smart play. And now we're at the point there just aren't any more good offensive players. They're just not there. Okay. Paul Abbott is a really good pick here. He's a great value pick because it gives us another arm that could potentially end up being better than average. Rich Garces, I remember him being incredibly fat and pitching for the Twins. Oh, I guess he pitched for Boston too. I do remember that. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and let my amazing GM sign anyone else he wants. I don't really care. I have $1 million for signing bonuses. Oh, that's after signing Will Clark. Let's see if we get Fredlin. If we do, then I can put that money towards a DH. If I don't, then we can see what might be available. I have 847,000. That's after offering up on the draft. What if we drop Randy Veers and let's do 80%? I think that's highly worthwhile if it'll work for him. Yeah, you're asking for, like, genuinely good players? So I'm just going to come back here and just accept this offer. Alright, so Fred Lynn handily fixes our left field issue. Is there... This leaves me with a DH that I need. I still need a designated hitter that I can rely upon. And I've got very little money to do it with. Let me go ahead and start adding in. Let's see. We want Lonnie Smith and Nelson Norman. Both of them have to make the roster. They both are too important. And Tim Wallach. Got it. I'm going to look hitters in the Rule 5 and see if we can't end up grabbing one. That would be delightful. Everyone takes Alan Anderson, and then nobody keeps him. It's got to be very disappointing if her name is Alan Anderson. I mean, Keith Hernandez is still a baseball player. You can't dispute that. There's really nothing here that excites me. There just really isn't. Meh. You keep bringing up Terry Francona game. I'm not gonna pick him. Cease thy prattling, game. In case you're wondering, this means Milt Collier is gonna make the Major League roster. I don't think I really have another choice in the matter. And Patricelli, Fergosi, Morgan, and Merritt all made it in. Fergie Jenkins still waiting. Okay. That's fine. Holy shit. Okay, damn, son. We just got some big money. I can afford a real free agent now. Like, an actually good player. Potentially. Oh, Mel Hall would be a nice addition to this lineup. I'm not giving you 4 years, though. I can't afford that. I will give you 1 year, though. And I know he's not a perfect hitter, but he's a very solid one. And I'd be very appreciative to have him on our team. To harm baseballs with authority. All right. Frankie V is slipping a bit. It's probably just off-season rust. Excellent. Adding Mel Hall makes me very, very happy. I think he's going to make our lineup significantly more dangerous than... And shout out to the owner, right? As much bullshit as I gave him in the past, He came through when we needed a bit of extra cash. And he's like, you know what, fuckers? Let's try to make a deal with this. Service, Avery, Collier can all get some reps in spring training here. I'm okay with that. Hey, yeah, bet. You should be a starter, not a reliever, my son. And give me a 5-man rotation. Do not exclude Rick Reed. There you go. Alright, let's get some lineups happening here. $55, $74, $74. I am concerned about taking Fred Lynn out of the field. But I do genuinely think Mel Hall is the better choice because he's... No, we'll leave Fred Lynn in. It's fine. I don't want you randomly batting Lenny Dykstra 7th, but for spring training alone, I don't care. But we'll definitely see how things are looking at the end of spring training because you're not going to stay there. I feel very much, by the way, like we're actively trying to buy a World Series. Because we've got a lot riding on free agents this year. More than we did last year, in fact. And higher price free agents, too. I mean, Fred Lynn was basically a free agent. Basically, I didn't give up anything of value for him, so... And I'm not even paying that much for him, so that's fine. Alright. So, the best of all possible news is that Mr. Steve Avery can start the year in the minors. Which is the one thing I wanted to happen. I want him to develop properly and not be rushed. Gives us a pitching staff of 13 is too many. Jeff Innes can go away. I don't want to ruin his service time. Get it, Scott? Get it, get it, get it? But I genuinely do want to develop a little bit better. Right now he's like an average pitcher, but he could be more. And so I want to wait till he perfects his slider. Gives me 11 pitchers, and I'm happy to keep them in this particular configuration. That'll be fine. Let's talk lineup. Milt Collier is just a better version of Randy Kutcher, so we're going to send him down, and Collier gets to make the opening day roster. Alright, so let us construct the lineup to end all lineups. Alright, Will Clark is hitting third. The only alternative, Will Clark hitting second, and Will Clark is hitting third. Lenny Dykstra is still the best leadoff hitter we've got. The only thing that makes me want to put Ozzie Smith or Gerald Young leading off is just so that Lenny Dykstra can do more damage when he gets on base. But no, Lenny Dykstra is our leadoff guy. He will be forever and ever. Stop trying to put anybody else in that role. And then... Ozzie Smith. I think Ozzie Smith hitting second is a good idea. Cleanup is Big Matt. It is Big Matt Williams. Then Fred Lynn playing left field. Actually, would I rather let Fred Lynn be the cleanup guy? Yes. No. No. No, Fred Lynn can be the fifth hitter, and he'll do quite well in that role. Then Mel Hall comes in to play DH. If not for the elite power that Matt Williams possesses, I would be very tempted to make Fred Lynn our cleanup guy. But I think overall, I think Matt Williams is a perfectly valid choice given his skill and talent over the years. Gerald Young bats 7th. And I need Jose Vizcaíno to bat 2nd or 8th. At 2nd, but to play bat 8th. And then Bob Melvin will be our backup, our starting catcher at 9th. This has the potential to be a really scary lineup, not because we've got a huge amount of big boppers in it, although we've got some, but mostly because there's not an easy out among them. Like, even Bob Melvin has enough offensive capability you have to take him seriously. Not real seriously, but pretty seriously. Shit. Game, don't be like that. It's not the game's fault, it's my fault. I meant to just have you create these two lineups. And let's get some depth charts here. Awesome. I'm here for it. 10,000%. All right, my friends. Let us advance to opening day. So the last question for free agency is going to be, do we re-sign Frank Viola? And if so, to how much? I think I'm going to say that for the offseason, though. Unless we're, like, completely out of it, then I might trade him. Hey, you made me happy, owner dude. Because you gave me a pretty good amount of money, and that's all I've ever wanted in my life. Alright. Let us play some baseball. Alan Anderson didn't even make it through the opening week of the season. Why are we struggling so much? Like, it's too early in the season. Too early. No, I can't give up Rick Reed. Impossible. Me fail English? That's impossible. It seems like it's most of the lineup is just not hitting yet. And that's fine. Like, we'll figure it out. This is purely just a rough start to the season. Let's just continue without messing with anything yet. You're not a part of the starting lineup, and neither are you, Tim Wallach, so stop bitching. Like, instantly, cease your commentary. This is a really, really weird start to the season. Hmm. 2,500 hits for Fred Lynn. That's pretty cool. Yeah, my friends, I am not sure what's happening here. Okay, Dykstra's doing fine. We're getting better. We're trending in the right direction, but we're still very, very far from where we need to be. I'm gonna keep going for right now because it's not like an obvious choice to make here to make the team better. Guys, stop it. Paul Abbott is a starter. Treat him as such. Oh, they are treating him as a starter. They're just flagging him as reliever just to annoy me. Cool. Cool. Bob Kipper is pretty badly struggling, but also hasn't gotten too many innings yet. So I don't really know what his deal is. Larry McWilliams thought this would be a great season to start walking hitters, which is never the right choice. Larry, if that is your real name. Larold. Let me. Can we afford Frank Viola? Not even close. Like, the owner's just like, nope. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, we're gonna have to hope we start developing our own pitching because that's gonna be the only way we're gonna get quality pitching over the coming years, unless the contract situation starts to improve a lot. Lonnie, just shut the fuck up. Just stop talking entirely. You are here to be a very capable backup, and if you can't accept your role, I'm not going to trade you, I'm going to make you suffer. Fred Lynn, you're hitting 5th. That's the middle of the lineup. Stop complaining. Okay? Cease your noise. Damn, Mel Hall is crushing it. Like, he is a legit great player this season. I'd love to give you an extension, my guy. I can't afford it. I'm keeping Dick Allen. You can't stop me from keeping Dick Allen. Vic Power is the most complainy guy left, and we're not even hitting that well this year, so I will be letting him leave in favor of getting a higher quality hitting coach, and every other hitting minor league coach gets an extension. So it's the interesting problem we find ourselves faced with. We're last for reasons I don't fully understand. Mike Dyer's throwing harder, that's cool. Yeah, I don't see an obvious scapegoat here. For, like, if we got this player, we would be that much better. Fred Lynn is a big part of it. He's not hitting. 236 ain't gonna cut it, my guy. And you don't have any power. You're drawing walks. Okay, great. But this is not what you were acquired for. We need more. Matt Williams is troubling. But I think he'll figure it out. Clark is just not winning a batting title again. But that's not his fault. We're really struggling power-wise. Other than Matt Williams and Mel Hall, we're really weak offensively. So, first things first, Fred Lynn, quit bitching. You're being bumped down the lineup. You just are. Can I do better? Is there a player I could add that would make our team significantly better? Really, Steve Avery? Really? Bone chips in your fucking elbow. Oh my gosh. I mean, Lonnie Smith is kind of crushing it, but I also don't expect him to keep that going. I just need my great players to play great. That's what has to happen in the second half here. There's not like an obvious person that I can add that would make a real difference here. And even if I wanted to, I have very little money left to spend. Like, I could trade Fred Lynn. I am paying him $900,000. But I don't see who we'd be able to acquire is my issue. So the real question is going to be, at the trade deadline, if I'm out of it, I think I have to trade Frank Viola. I have to. Because if it's not going to get me a pennant, there's no point to keeping Frank Viola. Because I'm going to lose him. I'm not going to be able to bring him back. Not possible. It is what it is. We got to just start fucking hitting, guys. That's the key here. Let's hit some baseballs, guys. I do not see a single player from Kansas City on the All-Star team. What the fuck is wrong with you, game? How are we getting left off the All-Star roster entirely? Did that stupid rule change again? Yes. So somehow I still didn't get a guy here. Really? Not one player from Kansas City. My friend that trope. Are you freaking kidding me? California. Barry Bonds and Edgar Martinez. This is an injustice, and while I'm not saying anybody really deserves it for Kansas City, I think Frank Viola's got a case, right? More than Bruce Hurst. And yes, he's Cleveland's only All-Star, but why do I get screwed? Why am I abandoned in the All-Star game? Look, fucking Bob Sabra has no business being in the All-Star game. Give it to Frank Viola. I am enraged. Tim, shut the fuck up. Okay? Just all of you? I am going to hire a clubhouse attendant whose only job is to find people asking me for stupid shit and punch him in the face. Losing Jose Vizcaíno doesn't help. He is somewhat important. And I don't really have a good backup second baseman. I guess Jackie Gutierrez gets a reprieve because someone's got to do it. But hey, Nelson, get your shit together. And then generate me a new depth chart if you please. I have David Segui. Oh no, Pittsburgh does. I remember David Segui. Very fine hitting first baseman. Alright, my friends, we have a choice to make. We are 9 games out of first place. It seems pretty unlikely, barring a drastic offensive turnaround, that we're going to make the playoffs. And if I don't make the playoffs, there is literally no point in keeping Frank Viola. Because I'm not going to be able to keep him. I'm just not. Like, I guess that means Paul Abbott. Which doesn't feel great. Or Alan Anderson, maybe? I hate this shit. Is there a reason to keep Frank Viola? Here's my other issue. There is a very high chance that if I don't make the playoffs that I get fired. And I'm really not going to make the playoffs without Frank Viola. Paul Abbott has actually regressed, I think. For whatever reason, he's pitching worse. Steve Avery's not healthy. Alan Anderson is like, he exists. You can't take that away from him. Guys, I genuinely don't know what to do here. I don't know if trading Frank Viola makes sense. I guess I could try trading him and ask for a starter in return and see what that gets me. I've got to try. I have to try. I mean, I could get the Todd Stottlemyre. Terry Mulholland was never a very good starter. Like, there's a few guys here who are like, yes, these are pitchers. 100%. None of them are closest, or none of them are as good as Frank Viola. Bill Swift, maybe. But I mean, he's movement and control. Oh, Frank Viola's literally only control. That is interesting. That is interesting. Can I get more than Bill Swift, is my question. Okay. Frank Viola has regularly outperformed his actual ratings. Bill Swift would give me a reasonably good innings eater for a season or two. If you give me fucking Bobby or Mike Witt, I'd be a lot more willing to do it. But I can't afford Mike Witt, so that's whatever. Would you eat any of his salary? No, you wouldn't. How do I free up either the money to keep Frank Viola or the money to make a significant upgrade? Matt Williams really concerns me. Like, he has one job, right, which is to hit home runs, and he's not doing that. It's like he hasn't hit home runs in my home stadium either. He's just not hitting home runs. And if he ain't hitting home runs, he ain't nothing. Is it too early to give up on him, though? I don't know. I'm never going to be able to afford Frank Viola. Not even a little bit. Alright. Let's do things. Let's trade Scott Service. Like, I know he's very valuable, but a lot of people are asking about him. And if I can get a really good starter, then I'm kind of all about that. Al Leiter. Nope. You're not getting him for that control, that's for damn sure. Pete Falcone and Eric Show don't really impress me. Okay. My bullpen's really good. But I mean, it's not like Scott Service is long from cracking it, right? The issue is Julio Machado. Can I trade you and get a starting pitcher of some repute? I don't want any of these guys, though, because none of these guys offer me a possibility of someone that'll be good in the future. These would all just be one-year deals. I don't need one-year deals. We're trending in the right direction, but there's an awful lot of ground to make up here. So much ground to make up. And it doesn't help that my most important hitters are not hitting. Fred Lynn has been a giant bust. Lenny Dykstra is not hitting. Like, there is something desperately wrong about this team when big-time hitters are just not hitting at all. And so the million-dollar question becomes, will they start hitting? Or is this just what it is, in which case we're not doing shit? Like, there is not a single hitter on this team that is hitting for anywhere near their actual offensive competence other than Mel Hall and Will Clark. And Will Clark should be better than this. The power is gone. The contact is gone. Lenny Dykstra has been just not good. Gerald Young is never going to be shit. All the man does is steal bases when he gets on base, but he doesn't get on base all that much. This is a fundamentally flawed team. Whether we have Frank Viola or not is less important than can we recover? Can the people who aren't hitting start hitting? And I'm only happy with two people right now, and I'm only slightly happy with Will Clark. I'm going to fire my hitting coach. That's happening regardless, because I wasn't going to bring him back anyway. And Bobby Miole, or Rudy Mioli, seems like he'd be a really good fit. So you're fired, Vic Power. You gone. You're getting promoted. Vic Carell's getting promoted. Steve Braun is getting mega promoted. And then I will hire Jack Hyatt to do that. That's fun. I don't know. That's going to wake up the offense, but it certainly can't hurt. All right. If I trade Frank Viola, is there a starting pitcher I could acquire that would make up for him? The answer to the question seems to be no. Eric fucking Davis? What the hell? Okay. Yeah, that's not happening. No one's going to give you anything for Eric Davis. He's too damn good and too damn expensive, I bet. You're too expensive, my dude. I've got to get a starter that's relatively young. There aren't any good starters on the market that I can afford. Unless somebody's willing to eat salary. Randy Tate's not that good. I'll give you Dyer. No, I won't. Dyer's actually gaining velocity. No, Dyer's not that great. You can have Dyer over Scott Service. So here's what I'm doing here. I'm getting a starter who's almost as good as Frank Viola. Theoretically, maybe even better. And I'm not giving up any flexibility. We're doing it. Give me Pascual Perez. And we're calling up Scott Service, and that should hopefully mean we suffer very little downside to that. Alright. That was something that had to happen. I had to deal with Frank Viola, and I think I've arguably got a better pitcher now. Now the question is, can we use this to get ourselves over the hump? Because remember, we're not going to be able to use him if we do make the playoffs. That's the downside, but whatever. We got to start hitting. If we start hitting, it doesn't matter who the pitcher is. If we don't start hitting, it also doesn't matter because I'll be out of a job. Real talk. Randy Veras is pitching better. Good. Alan Anderson is getting better. You'd love to see it. Let's see how the month of August goes. Can we put together a tear? Like a genuine tear. Where we just start tearing teams apart, left and right, front and center. Fred Lynn, how about you try fucking hitting, and then you can have anything you want to. Like, I can't trade you now even if I wanted to, right? Like, it is not an option that is available to me. Doug's got a 25-game hitting streak. That's pretty cool. So, offense is starting to pick up a little bit. Lenny Dykstra's hitting better. Fred Lynn is hitting better, I guess. We're still not great, but we are trying to turn it around. Let's just keep this going, though. And let's see if we can't make a dramatic end-of-season charge. Jose Vizcaíno, wonderful. I have seen nothing from Fuckhead McGee here and Nelson Norman that convinces me that he is any better than you. So I'm bringing you back. Give me a new depth chart. And as a treat, Chuck Tanner, you can set up our other lineups. If we can get like a sustained hot streak, we might push ourselves into contention toward the end here. Nope, we are done. Yeah, now Gerald Young decides hitting is part of his fucking job. Look, we finished 2 games off of our pace from last season. I'm not going to apologize for that because we need to do something else, but we'll worry about that later on. Pascal Perez turned out to be a very nice addition to our roster, so that's one good piece of news. It doesn't cost us any money, which is even better. It's even better. Well, guess what? You're going to get your chance next year. And the Orioles won the World Series. At least the Yankees didn't win. Thank goodness. Ed Lynch has going to test free agency. He's welcome to do so. He is angry. Uh-oh. That's cool because I'd actually really love for Steve Braun to get a chance to be a manager. Mark Bellinger. Who could possibly say no to Mark Bellinger? The Eternal Brewer. I mean, I got another year. That's cool. But also not cool because, yeah. Let's talk about how the season went. Lenny Dykstra is so good defensively and so good on the base paths that he will always produce. I still need more from him. I don't know what his problem is. He needs to start hitting like the 300 hitter he's meant to be. Maybe our new hitting coach will start fixing that. I don't know. Ozzie Smith, great season, no complaints there. Mel Hall turned out to be a very fine designated hitter. I'd love to bring him back, but we can't afford him. This is where we start getting annoying, though. Will Clark just vanished. He must be successful for us to be successful, and he wasn't. He wasn't. Will Clark was merely above average. He was not top tier. He has to be top tier. He must be top tier, or this team will not be as successful as it could be. Jose Vizcaíno's only fault was getting injured. He definitely provided us with quality play at an important position. Happy about Jose. Matt Williams. My guy. You turned it up a little bit toward the end of the season. This is looking like freaking Mike Schmidt all over again. Except Mike Schmidt drew walks. If I'm paying you $1 million a year, I gotta see 35 homers and a 270 batting average. I just need more power, dude. Your slugging percentage took a giant crap, and that's very disconcerting. Fred Lynn, he wasn't as advertised. He provided literally no power whatsoever. Gerald Young, I think we got to move on from him. I think we do. He's not drawing walks. He strikes out way too much. And he doesn't hit for enough contact. The only thing he's good at is playing right field and stealing bases. And that's awesome. But I need more than that. I need a premium offensive contributor. You are not that. And I'm not paying you $1 million a year to be mediocre. Lonnie Smith actually could have gotten a bigger role. I'm pleasantly surprised how he performed. I have no illusions he will do so again in the future. But yeah, the big names didn't do it. They didn't come through when we needed them. I know we're never going to be a big power club. I've got to get more than this from my lineup. Because Mel Hall ain't coming back. I can't afford it. We have literally no money to spend. Mostly because of Will Clark's extension and other things. Let's issue some one-year deals, see if we can't recoup some of our losses that way. All y'all are gone. I've got to find a way to save some money. Let's trade Bob Kipper for any decent prospect that we can. Any position. This is all about me saving money. You want to give me Rudy Cianes? Done. Easy choice. Amazing. No hesitation whatsoever. Tom Gordon has been one of the best closers in the league year in and year out. I see very little upside to getting rid of him now. So we'll do that. Bob Melvin, I don't have another catcher. So congratulations, my guy. You get to be a dude. Jackie Gutierrez can go. Here's the real issue. I think I have to trade Gerald Young. He's likely going to get me a reasonable return, and he's just not worth it. Like, yes, the main steals bases at an ungodly clip. Fantastic. Do something else. The only value you have is being a really good right fielder and stealing bases. That's not enough. It just isn't. So I will trade you for the best prospect I can get my hands on. Can I trade you for a regular that might be more competent than you? Let's look at outfielders, please. Wait, where did Dwight Smith go? I was being offered Dwight Smith just a moment ago. Truly bizarre, but okay. So Ruben Sierra would be a pretty good get. He's got nice power, good contact, pretty good gap power. He is arbitration eligible, though, which means he's going to cost us some money. Less than Gerald Young, though. So Ruben Sierra is a definite possibility. Paul O'Neill would be another excellent choice. He's good contact, good gap power, reasonably good plate discipline. Another fine option. This comes down to who would I rather have more, Paul O'Neill or... I think it's got to be Ruben Sierra. I know Paul O'Neill's a better fielder, but Ruben Sierra offers us potential genuine power, and he's still pretty good at stealing bases. Whereas I know Paul O'Neill is, like, I know Yankees fans love the guy. Okay, great. I think it's got to be Ruben Sierra. I think he's got to be our option here. I'm sorry, fans. He might have been your favorite player. I've got to make the team better where I can. And Ruben Sierra, quite frankly, makes us a better team. It's just not up for debate. We are a better team with Ruben Sierra. Full stop. Yeah. Replacing Mick Williams, I've got plenty of options here. I don't really know who it's going to be yet, but it's going to be somebody. Rudy Cianez is like an 88% chance to make the roster. I'm happy to let him go. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I think we're making really smart moves on the margins. We genuinely are making smart moves on the margins. But I think one of the things that's going to happen is we're going to have to trade Matt Williams to get any payroll flexibility. And I really don't want to do that because I really do like Matt Williams. But the truth of the matter, but then again, the problem is that nobody hit. Like, literally nobody hit well this season, other than Mel Hall, who's gone anyway. So there's definitely got to be some changes here. Ozzie Smith is probably a luxury we can no longer afford. I'm still getting good value for him. But if we could get somebody to take his salary off our hands, that would tremendously open up our options. Then again, I don't have a shortstop to replace him. So 6 of one, half dozen over the other. I'm definitely going to keep my eyes open in free agency. But I think the draft is going to be where we make our hay this year. I truly think the draft is the key to making us a better team, fill in some gaps, and hopefully coming into next season that much better. We didn't talk about the pitching staff. Let's have a peek. Oral Hershiser was great. Pascal Perez, Jamie Moyer were both excellent. Rick Reed was very good for what we needed him to do, which was just eat innings. We had a great bullpen. Literally only Julio Machado sucked, and even he wasn't that bad. So that is very good news indeed. We are going to lose Ed Lynch. And my man wants to get paid, so I freely acknowledge his right to be paid. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Disappointing, but also not. We're only 2 games off our pace from last season. Just collectively, the entire team decided that offense is optional this year, with the exception of Mel Hall. But I mean, Will Clark, you got to hit 300 every year. If you're not hitting 300, the rest of the lineup is not going to function. And I know that's not fair. It is not fair in the least to ask that much from you every season, but that's what you're being paid to do. Ozzie Smith should have won a Gold Glove. He just isn't winning Gold Gloves, which is kind of what I need from him. So Vets got to step it up. If we're going to be a World Series team, the Vets have to step it up. Ruben Sierra is a nice get. I'm not saying he's going to solve all of our problems, but I've seen enough of his career that I'm hoping he will be a very useful piece to our puzzle here. Maybe Matt Williams has a better offensive year himself. A better year for Matt Williams makes everything else better. I just need better. Lenny Dexter, you got to be hitting 300. My dude, you got it 345 to 50 doubles every season. You got to be getting on base at a 380, 390 clip. That is what needs to happen for you to be the best version of yourself. And look, maybe with a better hitting coach, that will look better. Rudy Mule is an excellent hitter, excellent hitting coach, and he's really good at helping people with their mechanics. He's good with the Vets. Outstanding. Tom Gordon doesn't like you. Well, Tom Gordon doesn't have to. Right? Like, Tom Gordon is not a hitter, so why do I give a shit what Tom Gordon thinks? I don't, is the answer. I'm spending a lot of money for Dick Allen. Money well spent, absolutely, but I'm spending a lot of money for him. But he is brilliant, so that's fun. But my friends, that's going to conclude today's episode. I think we did the best we could, but we're going to keep running up against payroll. I think one of the big boys has to go if we're going to make a significant upgrade. I'm looking at you, Ozzie Smith. Even truly transcendent third base shortstops can't make $4 million a year. That may be something that happens. Real quick, what could I get for trading him? Just for funsies. I bet I can get literally nothing for him. Great. Well, we'll see what happens. Until next time, my friends, thank you very much for watching. Your viewership is always appreciated. I love hearing from your comments. You can even get name dropped in my video like Tom Lehman did at the beginning here. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more OOTP action. And until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you